My name is Sadlowski and from Germany, and my real passion is building vintage Porsches and selling vintage Porsches and driving them in races. The 911 ST story really starts with very early 1965 Porsche 911. And when that car came out for the first time, they were so reliable that in long distance races they could really win races, long distance races, even being, as far as the power is concerned, not actually being so competitive. But from 1969 on, the factory realized that they could do championships and wins in the GT class as well, and they needed a car for that. And way before the RS or the RSRs came out, they built the 911 ST. But these first STs they built in 1960 were lightened cars, they tuned the engine, they widened the wheel arches in the rear, and this is a very important thing to me at least, because the first wheel arches, the wider wheel arches, they had a very beautiful shape. They were sort of rounded shaped, you know, instead of square shaped, and to me that was the most beautiful car I've ever seen. And for the first time, actually, Porsche had a very competitive GT race car. And actually, in time, in history, in period, they did a lot of wins in these things, especially in long distance races. In the 90s, when I finally more or less quit contemporary modern racing, I started vintage racing, and that actually led to my decision to found a company called PS Automobiles, and is dealing in vintage classic Porsches. And I said, yeah, but okay, I mean, the times changed. I like a little bit more comfort, a little bit air conditioning, a little power steering. So I had a 964 that got stuck somehow in my inventory because it was a nasty looking car. And the interior was not good and the paint was not good. And it says, hey, but this is the right car. It still has the normal aspirated engine, giving you 250 horsepower. It's got 3.6 liters, so there's a lot of room to work with, you know, to tune up the engine. And still it has all the comfort. Most of them are delivered with a sunroof, and most of them are delivered with an air condition. So I took that car and we just knocked it down and recreated this 911 ST. And I still had in my inventory original rear fenders. I mean, old factory fenders, ST fenders. And they're completely different from like a turbo fender. An early turbo fender is way different shape. So I took these fenders and went to a company and said, hey, can you press me these fenders? So we put these fenders on and knocked the car down, painted it in a beautiful color. Then we took the interior down. I took an old Recaro seat and went to a company in Italy. So I went to a company and says, can you recreate me these seats, the old Recaro seats? They said, yes, they did. So we put the old seats in there. Then we took all the instruments out, you know, recreated the old instrument design. Then we had to re-chrome all the parts. You know that the early cars, they had all these chrome parts, beautiful parts. And chroming is not as easy as the people think, because if you do it right, you got to copper it and you got to brass it. So we found a company in Germany doing that for us. Quite expensive, but it's an absolutely perfect result. From that point on, yeah, we started building these cars, and obviously we added a lot of features. We finally created our own exhaust system, and instead of having 160 cell catalytic converter, we have 2 times 100 cell catalytic converters, so which is 2.5 times as good as far as the pollution side is concerned. But we didn't do a whole lot. We didn't aim for doing many cars. You know, we built 2 to 4 cars a year. But we showed it at several shows, exhibitions, and a lot of people jumped on this style and this design, and they liked the idea. And so they gave us the inspiration of doing even more and inventing more and developing more into this car. At the end, I figured out one time, about half a year ago, there's been about 160 changes from the first car to the cars we're doing now. First of all, we knocked down the engine completely. I mean, really down to every nut and bolt, okay? And that's we're doing for all of the engine, doesn't matter if it's 3.6 or 3.8 liter at the end of the day. On all of the cars, we do the oil pump, so they replace the oil pumps. all the nut and bolts. We put in Delabar bolts, which are way stiffer than the original bolts. We changed the cams, obviously. We do rebuild the complete heads. On all of the Porsche, all the power comes from the heads. Today, I'd say 99% of the cars we're building, we put in the 3.8 liter engine. The reason is it gives you more torque. It's not the power that is so different actually. Instead of 295, it will be around 320. The suspension, we obviously put a lot of attention to because all the race car drivers, they pay a lot of attention to the suspension. The reason is having 100 horsepower more. It gives you 2 seconds, but having a great suspension that gives you 3 or 4 seconds. So the advantage on a good suspension is way above the sheer power. In my early life, I was in the furniture and the upholstery business, so I really love leathers. And actually, I had a big upholstery company doing leather sofas, so I know a little bit about leather. So my old colleagues from the furniture business, they do me the interior, they do me the dash, they do me the seats in the leather that we choose. So we invented a lot of things and changed a lot of things to a way higher quality. Our focus on the car is that they could be used as a daily driver. Okay, what we don't want is a car that gives you an aggressive performance. An aggressive performance is okay for using on a racetrack, in motorsport and stuff like, but that's a different story. So what we want is a quick car, a lot of performance if you want to, but you can use it in New York City, drive through Manhattan during the rush hour, and you still have relaxed driving, wonderful machine. This is what we wanted. We really like to build these cars, and from being in this Porsche business now, I explained it's over 25 years. I'm dealing with Porsches. From all what I did, I appreciate this project the most. The skills to do it and to do it right in a perfect quality is not something that you gain within a year or two, okay? There's a process, and we have the working skills, we have the right people, we have the motivated people, and I think this is something we do for many years to come.